Well, good evening, everybody. Meteorologist Evan Stewart here. It's 10 o'clock, so we wanted to give you another update on some of the strong thunderstorms that are moving through Hampton Roads. The good news, right now at least, is we're not seeing any warnings here across Hampton Roads. We don't even have a severe thunderstorm watch for parts of Hampton Roads, although we have seen a couple of warnings a little bit earlier this evening across western Hampton Roads, and quite a bit of lightning, a bit of a light show right now up across areas of the Middle Peninsula. Just in this whole area in the last half hour, we've seen 123 lightning strikes. So it has been an active evening with these storms pushing through. The good news is that with the timing of some of these storms now getting into the later evening, we have seen these storms weakening as they have moved eastward. And as we take off the lightning, we'll be able to show you some of what's going on out here, as we do have some very heavy rain that is moving through the Middle Peninsula and the Northern Neck right now. So from around Tibitha over towards Christchurch and Alfonso and Palmer, some very heavy rain, and that extends down into the Middle Peninsula right now as well. So now we're looking at Gloucester County and Matthews County, and some of the rainfall rates have been pretty heavy with this band of storms moving through. Again, if it were to sit over this area for an hour, you would get over 2 inches of rain. That's the radar's estimate of that rainfall there. And right now, some of the heaviest of the rain is through central Gloucester County, right up the highway right now, all the way from Gloucester Point, right up through White Marsh to Gloucester, right up 17, and then all the way up towards Saluda. Hasn't quite made it over here into Matthews County or Mobjack Bay just yet, but it is moving to the east, so you'll see some of that heavier rain coming up here as we go in the next 30 minutes or so. I'll just show you the loop here. We'll give you the last 30 minutes so we can kind of show you what's been going on with the movement of this line of storms here. You can see it crossed over the peninsula, Williamsburg, then the York River, and now moving through Gloucester County, heading over again towards Matthews County and Mobjack Bay. So there is some heavy rain with this storm right now. As we head a little bit farther to the south across areas of the peninsula, more moderate showers, moderate to heavy at times, but we see the yellow. So that extends from Lightfoot down through Colonial Williamsburg, around Grove, down towards Fort Eustis. And then we have some heavier rain once again right around the downtown Hampton and the east end of Newport News. I'll put on the lightning, and there is a little bit of lightning with these storms. Not a lot of activity, but you can see it right through here right now, heading over towards Langley Air Force Base and downtown Hampton, Back River, towards Pocosin. We have some of that heavy rain, and then it extends down towards the east end of Newport News as you make the bend there on 664, heading towards the Monitor Merrimack Memorial Bridge Tunnel, over towards the JRB. That's right here, that's 17. That takes you again from Newport News over towards Isle of Wight County and eventually over towards Smithfield. But again, you can see that heavy rain right now moving through the east end of Newport News. And then, as I mentioned, right now over towards Buckrow Beach, fairly light rain. It is going to pick up in intensity pretty quickly as this storm moves eastward. Let's take a look at our Skyview camera. This is up at LFCU, and you'll be able to see that there isn't a lot of rain showing up there right now on our Thompson Creek Window Company Skyview. Mainly just some moderate rain that's been showing up across areas of the peninsula right now, and that's what we're continuing to watch. So let's head on down towards the south side. Again, you can see all that lightning that is showing up, but it's not nearly as intense as we move here through areas of Suffolk. Hobbstown over towards Baileytown, Suffolk, getting ready to cross over into Western Branch, Bowers Hill, eventually over towards Deep Creek and Great Bridge, over towards areas around Grassfield and Edinburgh and Hickory eventually. About another 30 minutes or so, and then not much across North Carolina. Of course, North Carolina dealing a little bit of a drought situation, showing up there in some of the brownish colors from Elizabeth City southward, dealing with a moderate drought. So some rain would certainly be welcome, and we're dealing with dry conditions across much of the south side, and northern areas not dealing with much of a drought at all, picking up some of the heavier rain that is moving through right now. So this whole system is going to push off the coastline here as we go through the next couple of hours, and it's a pretty potent cold front, and what that means for us is a drop in temperatures as we head into the day tomorrow. So here's the loop over the past 3 hours. You can see that movement. There have been some warnings off towards the north. I'm going to switch this over. This is again out of our viewing area, but you can see up there heading up to Delmarva, we are looking at some heavy rain up there, and even a couple of warnings that have been posted up through areas of the eastern shore. And it looks like that we don't have the radar up there for Dover, But it would show you that, again, we are seeing right around Seaford over towards Lewis and the ferry as you work your way up towards New Jersey, seeing some of that heavy rain. And again, we do have that tornado warning that has been posted up there. And as we head a little bit farther again down towards the south, not much across eastern North Carolina. So we take a look at the Wilmington radar and the Morehead City radar. Again, not a lot of rain coming out of eastern North Carolina right now. So let's get you back, show you what the Storm Prediction Center is now saying. You might remember a couple of days ago we were under a level 3 risk, and then it was downgraded to a level 2 risk, and they've really trimmed that batch off here now, mainly just east of 95 and over towards the eastern shore. So it's really just this last band of thunderstorms that's moving through. We're not under a tornado threat anymore. You might remember a couple of days ago we were under a 10% risk, then it was down to a 5 this morning, then a 2 this afternoon. Now we're not under that tornado risk, so the main thing we're watching is the potential for some strong winds, still under about a 15% chance of seeing some of those strong winds with this band moving through. But for the most part, dealing with just some typical late winter, early spring thunderstorms pushing through Hampton Roads. And again, the gusts really haven't even been too bad with this as we take a look at some of the wind gusts recently. And, you know, we did have a 46 mile per hour gust up around Williamsburg, 30 in Norfolk, and 22 out towards Virginia Beach. So we haven't seen anything too terribly crazy with some of the wind gusts and any kind of storm reports. You can see back towards Emporia a little bit earlier, around 8:30, so about an hour and a half ago, we did have a down power line along West Drive near the Emporia Reservoir. As we head down towards Halifax County, North Carolina, Rosemary, some power lines down. So there have been some issues. And then off towards the north, up around Tappahannock and Sparta, you can see that we did have multiple trees down there. So there has been some of that damage. And then we have seen some of those stronger wind gusts just north of Tappahannock. And take a look at some of those wind gusts that were reported up in southern Maryland. You know, nothing too terrible. Webster Field, 39 miles per hour. There was a 58 mile per hour gust up there at Swan Point. So there have been some stronger winds, nearly 40 up towards Patuxent River Naval Air Station, and some trees down up in that area. But for the most part, Hampton Roads hasn't fared too poorly with this line of thunderstorms that has been moving through. So here again is that loop over the last 3 hours moving towards the Chesapeake Bay. A lot of this will be off the coastline as we head here, say close to midnight or just a little bit thereafter. We'll take a look at Futurecast and advance it really to the current time, take you to 9, 10 o'clock. Doing a decent job showing that these storms weren't going to be too terribly heavy, pushing through around 11 o'clock, and by 1, most of these storms will be pushing off the coastline out into the Atlantic Ocean. And then the big story tomorrow is going to be a return to temperatures that are back closer to normal. Normally we should be in the mid-60s, and we'll see temperatures in the low 60s by the afternoon. Start out with some clouds and then some sunshine into the afternoon, and we'll see those temperatures again back closer to normal. Normally we should be around 64 degrees. So the big story this evening, if you're joining us here, we're streaming, tracking some of these thunderstorms. Again, and it is a bit of a light show off towards the north, and we zoom in again mainly through the Middle Peninsula, now Matthews County. If you were watching a few minutes ago, it was mostly over Gloucester County. Now it's pushing into Matthews County, around Dutton, getting ready to head over towards Gwynn Island, Middlesex County, up towards Ruark and Stingray Point, seeing that heavy rain right now. So that is going to continue to work its way into the Chesapeake Bay and eventually over towards the eastern shore. Now, no warnings with this line. Once it gets over the Chesapeake Bay, you lose some of that friction. There is certainly the potential that it could try to flare up a little bit, and we could see a warning possibly issued up along the eastern shore. Again, that northern edge, as we mentioned, up around Seaford. Again, that's taking us into Delaware. We do have that tornado warning there, but around here, just looking at some gusty winds with this line as it pushes through the Chesapeake Bay. Not much down across areas of the south side now, just a couple of rumbles of thunder through Suffolk and then over towards Boykin. So there is, with the front out towards the west, still having to move through. We'll still have some of that rain as we go here later into the overnight. But again, the main batch of rain is the batch that is moving through right now. And that's where we're seeing the potential, again, for some of those gusty winds. And not a lot here as we have gone through the past hours. I'll just zoom out a little bit more. And again, not a lot of warnings left over with this line, really up around, along the Delmarva that we're seeing some of those warnings, and then some flood warnings around Philadelphia and some flood advisories up through New Jersey and New York. So this line certainly showing some signs of weakening. That's why we're now really just seeing the last vestiges of this level 2 risk of severe weather from northeastern North Carolina right through the Chesapeake Bay and up towards New York City as this cold front continues to advance eastward. The front still out towards the west, so the cold air is going to be lagging. So even though the heaviest of the rain will push offshore, we'll see that cold front slide through later this evening, dropping those temperatures, as I mentioned, into the day tomorrow. And it was a warm day today. We had high temperature of 84 degrees, almost broke the record. The record was 85, set back in 1938, and still at this hour we're sitting in the 70s, 74 in Norfolk and in Hampton, but already down into the 60s where we have seen some of that heavier rain through areas of Richmond. Dew points measure the mugginess, pretty muggy in the 60s, but again, we have seen some of those gusts that have been in the 30 to 40 mile per hour range, 46 up in Williamsburg. So these storms have had some gusty winds with them. And so we take another couple of live looks around the area. This is looking over downtown Norfolk. Haven't seen the rain come in just yet as we head up towards, again, areas of Norfolk. This is our camera there on top of Nauticus. And again, a couple other areas that we're watching. Here's out along the Virginia Beach ocean front. It's at the Beach Quarters Resort. Rain hasn't been coming in there yet. LFCU camera at Oyster Point and Newport News. Seeing some of that rain there, but it has been light to moderate. And then as we head a little bit farther down towards the Virginia Beach oceanfront, we'll take you to the DQ at 17th and Atlantic. And out there, you know, not many people because we do have that rain going in. And it is, 10 o'clock at night. So dealing with that rain, continuing to push eastward. Big story as we get into the day tomorrow will be the cooler temperatures. So as we take you through the forecast for tonight, still looking at those showers and thunderstorms. Some could be strong with some gusty winds. I think the severe threat is greatly reduced. Wind switching around to the northwest, and then tomorrow 60 degrees. We'll look for some increasing sunshine into the afternoon, but noticeably cooler into the afternoon as well with those northerly winds blowing at 10 to 15, gusting up to 25. 46 tomorrow night, and then on Wednesday 64. And a cool day. But then things start to warm back up. Look at Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday back into the 80s. We'll have another cold front move through late Sunday, and that'll drop temperatures again into early next week. So the main thing we're watching, next couple of hours, we'll watch this line of thunderstorms moving through. We haven't had any warnings over the past couple of hours. And actually, there is a brand new severe thunderstorm warning that actually did just come out. We were watching that storm earlier up through Matthews County, and now we have that severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for Gloucester, Matthews, Lancaster, Middlesex, and Northumberland until 11 o'clock tonight. So again, a brand new severe thunderstorm warning just came out up along areas of the Middle Peninsula and the northern neck. So that includes Kilmarnock, Hardyville, Gwynn Island, Beaverlet. This storm is moving to the, it's moving to the northeast at around 60 miles per hour. So I was saying as it got closer to the Chesapeake Bay, we could see it kind of sort of start to flare up. And if I track that off towards the northeast, that will carry it over towards Tangier Island around 1028, around Accomack County, 1041, Onancock around 1041, Accomack the town at around 1046. And one of the things that we've been watching have been some of those gusty winds. You can see in here we do have some wind gusts, at least estimated by radar. And this is a little bit higher up into the atmosphere, some wind gusts over 50 miles per hour with that leading edge of the storm. So we'll get back to some of those wind gusts. Again, this is getting a little bit farther and farther from the radar site. So with it being a little bit farther and farther from the radar site, it is a little bit higher up into the atmosphere. So some of these winds might not be translating down towards the ground. As we head a little bit farther towards the south side, we'll take a look at some of those wind gusts as well. Not quite as strong. We're a little bit closer to the radar site, but we could still have some wind gusts, again, closer to 40, 45 miles per hour with this line as it is moving through. So again, brand new severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for just a very extreme northern part of Gloucester County. I would say for the most part, Gloucester, you're out of the woods with this. Still seeing some of that heavy rain around Dutton, just getting ready to cross over into Matthews County. But Matthews County, you're definitely seeing that rain, some lightning, and again, you are under that warning until 11 o'clock. Storm is moving, as we said, to the northeast at around 60 miles per hour. So that's going to bring it here into the Chesapeake Bay very quickly. So I have a feeling that this warning might not even last through the whole 11 o'clock hour because this storm is moving so quickly. You know, if it's moving 60 miles, per hour, that's a mile a minute. So that back edge will be out into the Chesapeake Bay by 10:30. Again, if it's, that back edge is 14 miles away from the coastline, it is going to be moving into the Chesapeake Bay and be off of Matthews County here, again, in just about, 15 minutes or so. And let's track that, Tangier Island, 7 minutes away. If it's moving a mile a minute, that leading edge is going to be approaching Tangier Island here in about the next 7 to 10 minutes. And as we track it here, let's say from the coast of the eastern shore, that leading edge will be there in about 24, 25 minutes. So again, moving 60 miles per hour. That'll bring it over towards the eastern shore, and we'll put on the official storm tracker here, taking it to the northeast. And again, that'll bring it over towards Tangier around 10:22. So again, about 6 minutes, which is pretty much what we were expecting. And then eventually over towards Silver Beach at around 10:30. So about another 14 minutes or so. So that's the only warning now that we have in the area. And we have seen sort of this whole mid-Atlantic split. We see that quite a bit, where we see the strong storms go to the north, strong storms go to the south of us, and really we just see not much here across Hampton Roads, but that main thing is that brand new severe thunderstorm warning up through the Middle Peninsula and the northern neck. Back edge, clearing Farmville and South Boston. Not much rain as we head out into western Virginia, so that's where the actual cold front is located. So that still is going to take its sweet time to get here. That'll cross and move off the coastline here after midnight or so. So again, if you're just joining us here on this streaming platform, we do have that brand new severe thunderstorm warning that has been posted for just a little bit of Gloucester County, Matthews County, Middlesex County, up into the northern neck until 11 o'clock tonight. Have seen some winds estimated on radar in here around 40, 45, 50 miles per hour. And now I can hear the rain starting to move into parts of the south side and here into the station in Norfolk as well. Can hear it on the roof, and there you can see it's just starting to move into the downtown area, and we've got that obscure visibility now through the downtown area with that heavy rain starting to move in. And we'll check here over towards Nauticus, and we have that heavy rain just starting to move in. Hasn't quite made it towards the downtown area just yet. This is a little bit farther south of where we are at the station, so we're not seeing that heaviest of the rain there, but it continues to push right into the downtown area. Downtown Portsmouth seeing that heavy rain over towards Academy Park. Hasn't quite made it. We're just getting ready to move into Craddock and Brentwood, over into Chesapeake, over towards Deep Creek. It's not quite as heavy. Then the heavy rain now pushing off the coast there of Poquoson and Hampton, and already, the heaviest of the rain is probably going to be out of the back edge of this warning here in another 5 minutes or so. So if you're through much of Gloucester County now, you're seeing some moderate rain, but you're not seeing some of those darker reds indicating the heaviest of the rain and some of the strongest of the winds. So Gloucester County pretty much out of the warning. Matthews County, it's really just concentrated now towards Hudgens, over towards Gwynn Island, and then Middlesex County up around Hardyville, Stingray Point, over towards Ruark, Richmond Road, and those areas through Middlesex County. And again, with this storm moving at a mile a minute, it is going to again be pushing into the Chesapeake Bay pretty quickly, heading over towards Tangier Island. And we'll continue to watch this storm as it moves offshore, moves into the Chesapeake Bay. It'll be a threat to marine influences. And then we'll have to watch and see if the National Weather Service does issue a warning for the eastern shore. If it were to do so, that would probably be about another 10-15 minutes. As you can see, it's a good 15 minutes away, 15 miles away from the eastern shore, so that'll give you about 15 minutes before that leading edge starts to push over towards the western parts of the the eastern parts of the Chesapeake Bay, the western shore. of the eastern shore. Now mainly just some light rain through the peninsula and some batches of some more moderate rain through south side. It does pick up a little bit around Lake Drummond, getting over into Chesapeake, Wollaston, down 17. A couple other little batches of some heavier rain through southern Southampton County around Boykins over towards Murfreesboro and Manola through Hertford County. And then, you know, we're not seeing much across North Carolina. You could certainly use that rain with the drought conditions that are being reported across eastern North Carolina. So we'll go ahead and start to wrap things up here. We'll watch this batch of thunderstorms as it moves through the Chesapeake Bay. It's now really just pushing off of Matthews County, and we'll wait for maybe one or two more radar sweeps to come around, see how this storm has advanced. But with the next couple of sweeps, as the radar gets back down to the base level, we should see this storm moving into the Chesapeake Bay. If you're happen to be watching us from Tangier Island, get ready for some gusty winds and over towards the eastern shore, likely looking at some gusty winds, and I wouldn't be surprised if in another 10-15 minutes or so we do see a warning issued for the eastern shore, mainly for Accomack County. I think the southern edge of the storm might not be quite as strong and might not affect areas in Northampton County along the eastern shore. So Accomack County, be on alert here in another 15 minutes or so that we could see a stronger thunderstorm start to push through your neck of the woods. And that's really going to wrap up this streaming. We'll have a complete update coming up in just about 40 minutes on 13 News Now at 11. So be sure to join us then, and we'll have team coverage on some of these thunderstorms that are moving through Hampton Roads.